big questions, right? I will explain through scenarios, right? Scenario number 1, scenario number 2, and all the scenarios, right? Okay, right. Okay, so write down the topic EPF and ETF adjustment, right? EPF and ETF adjustment, right? Yes. Right. So look at the board. Normally, business have many employees, right? Normally, businesses have employees, right? I will write down here employee. Right? This is the employee. Right. Employee. And this is the business. Right? Right. Business. Right. So normally businesses businesses are recruiting employees for get actually what? Services from the employees, right? They labor, right? Businesses recruit employees to get services labor from the employees, right? Employee means who has recruited to get labor, right? Labor or services, right? Then after that, normally after get labor and services from the employees, business will have to pay salaries to employees, right? Business has to pay salaries to employees, right? So normally, business able to pay salary, right? Normally, basic salary, I would write down word basic. Basic salary. Right, Lama. Normally, have you heard word appointment letter? All I have to know the appointment letter. Appointment letter. Normally, appointment letter means when we are joined with the businesses or with the job, normally businesses, companies will give employees normally called letter, called appointment letter. Right? Appointment letter. Normally, this appointment letter includes, I think you have learned in business study subject, appointment letter includes normally what are the conditions, right? How about the leave, right? Leaves, leaves, right? Conditions for leaves. Then salaries, right? Then what about other allowances, right? Normally, this includes some conditions about the salaries, right? Then any allowances, then other conditions, right? Other conditions regarding the job, right? Normally, in the appointment letter, they will mention salary. How about the salary? Normally 30,000, 40,000, 100, 200, right? 200,000 or 1 million, right? They will mention, business will mention, how about the basic salary? Basic salary means normally that will basic, right? Basic salary. That will actually not be changed. It's still not be changed. That's the fixed salary for the employee, right? Right. But let's think basic salary, right? Right? Basic salary, let's think 200,000, right? 200,000 for the employee, right? That will not be changed. Same, right? Compulsory fixed salary for the employee. That will mention in the appointment letter, right? After that, can you tell me have you heard the word allowances? Allowances, right? Allowances, I will erase this one and write down like this. basic salary. Basic salary 200,000. Right? Then allowances. Right, Lavan. Have you heard the word allowances? Can you tell me some examples for allowances? Allowances. What are the examples for allowances? Have you heard the word allowance? Can you tell me what are the examples for allowances? Right. Allowances means normally businesses provide some facilities, right? Normally businesses are providing some facilities to the employees. Allowances, facilities means normally business will give uniforms, right? Uniform wage දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Then what else? Uniforms and then foods, right? Foods, then fuel allowances, right? Monthly wise lamai දෙන්නේ fuel වලට පොඩි ගාණක් දෙන employed, right? Uniforms, fuel allowances, then overtimes. Have you heard overtimes? Right? Overtimes. Overtimes means, have you heard word OT? OT OT means normally our working times normally starting 8 to 5, no? Right? Normally working hours. So if you have worked after the working hours, normally let's think you have worked 3 hours. Right? Make overtimes, right? After the working times, if you have worked another hours, that calls we normally calling working hours, right? Overtimes. Overtimes also allowances. Normally businesses will give some payments for these excess hours, right? Businesses will give normally payments, right? We call normally overtimes, right? Normally facilities. And also businesses will give some houses, quarters for their employees, right? Normally, these facilities given by the businesses to their employees, we call what? Allowances. Allowances, right? There are so many allowances, right? It depends on the, or it will be changed depends on the nature of the businesses, right? Right? Businesses. Right? Overtimes, right? So what is the meaning of allowances? Facilities given by the business to their employees, right? Allowances. Let's think this business has normally let's think 50,000 allowances. I don't know. I'm not going to mention what is the allowances name. I will write down here just allowance. Allowances 50,000 to the employee, right? Employee, right? So can you tell me now how much the total here? Basic salary and allowances, how much the total? Right. 2,050, right? Basic salary kai allowances tikai okkoma අපි කීයද කියලා 2015, right? So can you tell me how much the total of salary expense for the business, right? I am asking you a question. Here, basic salary 200, allowances means facilities given by the business to employees 50. Then total amount 250 business has to pay to the employee, right? How much the total salary expense for the business? 200 or 250, right? Salary expense. Salary expense should be 200 and 250. Please tell me salary expense. How much is salary expense here? Salary expense. How much is salary expense? Right? Try to send your answers, then I'll explain, right? 200 to 250. Right. Here, actually, business has to pay basic salary and as well as allowances. Allowances means facilities. to employees, right? Oye dekama lamai we call expense for the business, right? Therefore, salary expense will be with expense. Total expense. Total expense for the business will be 250 with the allowances, right? So now I keep in mind this, very important. All right. Look at here, basic salary. Basic salary plus, right? Basic salary plus, I will add it allowances. Right. How much the basic salary here? 200, allowances 50. Right? Then what is the answer? 250. Right. So normally look at here very carefully. Basic salary and other facilities, other allowances, other facilities given by the business to their employees, that one also should be added to the basic salary. And this total amount we will call special word. Special word, I will write down here. Gross salary. Gross salary. Right? Okay. Gross salary. Right. Look at here. Mama කෙලින්ම EPF ETF වලට යන්නේ නැහැ. හරි. එතකොට මම step by step යන්නේ එකින් එක add කරගෙන එන්නේ. හරි. Right. Gross salary. Right. So can you tell me which one should be our expense? Basic salary or gross salary? Keep in mind, this is the expense. Total expense for the business. Because business has to provide normally allowances, overtimes, fuel allowances, food allowances, house allowances, right? House facilities. Business the expenses, right? Business has to bear those expenses, facilities instead of employee, right? Employee, right? Employee, right? So I explained what is the meaning of basic salary. Basic salary means that is the initial salary which is included in the appointment letter, right? Then employee na gamamma api denawa business එක කට්ටිය දෙනවා letter එක. ඒ letter එකේ තියෙනවා salary එකක්. හරි. ඒක වෙනස් කරන්නේ නැහැ. Right? That is the basic salary, right? That will not be changed, right? Which is included in the appointment letter, right? Appointment letter, right? If you have parents in government or private sectors, you can ask, where's your appointment letter, right? Then if you refer the appointment letter, there is a word basic salary. That's the initial salary, right? That will not be changed, right? Right? That is the basic initial salary given by the business at the interview. Right? That will not be changed. Right? Clear? Right. So I will erase this one, this chart. Right. So now for the expense, business should be identified total amount. This total amount, total expense, total salary expense for the business. Total salary expense for the business. Right. Basic salary means appointment letter included initial salary, which is not be changed. Allowances means facilities given by the business. That one also expense for the business. Then total. Basic salary and allowances total, we call what? Gross salary. That should be the total salary expense for the business. Make it away, right? Right. Also, allowances also we have to consider. Right. Can you tell me, now I am going to ask you a question. Right. Right. I am writing here two topics. If we paid salary, if we have paid salary, right? Number two, if we not yet paid salary, if we have not yet paid salary, right? Can you tell me, can you create double entry, right? Double entry for this total expense, total salary. Salary expense should be, this is not not basic salary. You had consider allowances also. Allowances like food allowances, right? Travel allowances, right? Uniform allowance, total, right? If we have paid from cash these total, what should be the double entry, right? When paying, cash as decreases, no, cash asset decrease, cash asset decrease, and also salary expenses, no, salary expense will be increased, right? Can you create double entries? Now you should have knowledge regarding double entry theories, right? Right. Expenses increase. Expenses increase what? Expenses increase what? Debit. We call salary debit. Salary expense debit. How much? 250. Not basic salary, right? You have to consider allowances as also. Then total call gross salary 250, right? Then cash deducted, no. Cash means asset. Asset deducted what? Asset decreases, debit or credit. Assets deducted decreases what? Credit. Then we can write down cash credit. Cash credit 250, right? Cash credit 250, right? Understood? Very easy one, right? Easy. Okay. So next one, right? Right. Please tell me now if we have paid, right? Can you tell me if we have not yet paid, right? We are not yet paid from the cashes. What should be the double entry? What should be the double? Means cash will given a cash deducted. But if we have not yet paid, what we have to do? What we have to do? Right. Our salary expense normally increases, right? Salary expense. But if we have not yet paid, we have to pay in future, right? We have to pay in future. But ඉස්සරහට pay කරන්න වෙනවා, right? That means our obligation will be increased with the employee. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Our liability will increase, right? We call salary payable. Salary payable. Salary payable, right? Salary payable liability increase. Salary expense increase and also our liability also increase, right? Expenses increase what? Debit, no? Salary debit. Salary debit 250. Cash credited, no. If you have not yet paid, our liability increase. We call liability increases what? Credit. I mean, salary payable credit 250. 250. Understood? Salary payable credit 250. Right? What is the theory now? Theory here, මලව EPF එකට කෙලින්ම එන්නේ නැහැ, step by step එන්නේ, right? Basic salary means appointment letter, initial salary. Allowances means facilities given by the business. Both are should be expense for the business, but we are not going to identify these allowances separately, right? That will add it to the salary and we call what? Gross salary. Total should be our salary expenses, including allowances. What is the double entry? Salary debit, cash credit if we pay. Not yet paid, salary debit, salary payable credit. Okay. Write down scenario number 1. Right? Number 1. Okay. Write down. I'm not going to write any questions. Write down this one and write if you have paid, if you have not yet paid. Then I'll come to the next scenario, right? Scenario number 2. Scenario number 2. Right. මම ළමයි දැන් අර EPF මේව percentage right ETF මම එහෙම කියන්නේ නැහැ හරි මම අර scenarios ටිකට තමයි එන්නේ. ඒතකොට මම ඔයාලට නිකම්ම අන්තිමේට මම theory ටික පෙන්නන්න හරි. Right. Okay. Write down this one. Scenario number 1. Right. Right, finish. Yes, right. Okay. ඔයාලම A to Z අහගෙන ඉන්නෝනේ මැදින් සෙට් වුණොත් නම් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right, finish. Okay, shall I move to the next second scenario now? Right. What should be the total expense? Salary expense. If someone asks how much the total salary expense, you can't tell 200 basic salary, which is included in the appointment letter, initial salary. Right? Interview එකට ඉදහන් ඒ කියන ගාන. හැබැයි ඊට අමතරව දෙනවා some facilities, right? That one also you have to consider. Then business has to bear 250 for the employees. That should be the salary expense. Right. Okay. Okay. Now I move to the next one. Right. Right. Next one. Right. Look at the right. ළමයි මේක දැන් අර percentage scene ටිකක් තියෙනවා මම ඒක අන්තිමේට finalize කරනවා. Right. Okay. එක එක method දෙකක් තියෙනවා 10% or 8%. Right. Don't think about. I'll move the only one percentage. Right. Again, look at the board. Right. Now, again, I will get that previous one. Business. Here our business. Here our employee. The person, right? Employee. Right. Employee, right. Okay. Right. Now, again, I get that same scenario with the EPF now, right? Then කෙලින්ම EPF ඔක්කොටම යන්නේ හරි step by step, right? Right. Look at now. So business has to pay basic salary. Basic salary and allowances. Allowances means what? Facilities. Then total we call gross profit. Sorry, gross, not profit, gross salary. Gross salary. Right? මේක ළමයි ඔයා කටපාඩම් කරලා කරන්න අමාරුයි. හරි? මම step by step න හොඳටම තේරෙනවා මේක. හරි? හොඳට අහගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. Right. Gross salary. So basic salary less than 200 as previous 50, 250. Right. Okay. Now, right. Now, business going to pay total amount, right? With the allowances to this employee. This is the amount, right? We have to pay, right? If we have not yet paid, what was the double entry? Double entry was salary expense debit, 250, salary payable, right? Salary payable 250. This was the double entry for if we have not yet paid, right? Payable, right? Then ළමයි ඔන්න අහගන්න. දැන් තමයි කතාව වෙන්නේ. Now business going to pay 250 including allowances 250 to employees. ඔන්න ඔහොම දෙන්නේ නැද්දි කවුද දෙන්නේද? Right? 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 Gross. Sorry. මේ ළමයි ප්‍රශ්න ටික අපි අන්තිමේට බලමු. හරි? Right. 250. Now total amount we are going to pay to employees. Clear? But then කවුද දෙන්නේ? Now government will involve with this transaction. Right? I will write down here government. Right? This is government, right? Right. On here government. Right. Now we are going to pay 250 total amount to employee. Right? අපි employee to pay කරන්න මේ now we are going to pay payable 250 to employee. Now government come and inform to business. Government come and inform business, don't pay total 50. Don't pay 250 amount to employees. Right? May 250 pay karan deba meya. Onno me here. Right? Then business why? What's the reason? No, don't pay total amount. Right? Because we have fund. Right? Have we heard central bank? Central bank. Central bank. What is the meaning of central bank? What the central bank? Central bank. Oh, that say World Trade Central bank means the main bank of the Sri Lanka. Right? That's the main bank. So normally in central bank, they have a fund. They have actually, I will write down only one. They have a fund. Not fund, fund, right? Fund. Fund EPF. EPF. Fund. EPF. I will write down the correct meaning of EPF later. Right. Put in the zoom out. Right. EPF. EPF. Central bank has a fund called EPF, which is normally maintained for employees' welfare. Right? Employees lage welfare එකට තමයි ළමයි මේක තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? එයාලගේ future benefits වලට employee welfare. Employee welfare. Right? Government informed business don't pay total amount to the employee. ඔයා ඔය ටික ඔක්කොම දුන්නොත් එයා ඔක නාස්ති කරලා ඉවර කරයි. Right? Therefore don't pay total amount to the employees. Please deduct some amount from their total balance. Right? Deduct some total amount from their balance and please send to our fund. Right? ඔයාලා ඔක්කොම pay කරන්න එපා. ඕකෙන් පොඩි ගාණක් අඩු කරගෙන අපේ fund එකක් තියෙනවා. අන්නේ fund එකට පොඩ්ඩක් එවන්න ඕන. Right? Inform government inform to businesses. Right? Okay. Right? Then they will inform percentage. Government inform percentage 10%. 10% from employees. 10% from employees. Right. Don't pay total amount to the total 252 employees. Right. Please deduct 10% from the employees. Right. Inform to business. Business එකට කියන ඔක්කොම pay කරන්න එපා 10% ගාණක් ඕකෙන් අඩු කරගන්න කියලා කියනවා. හරි. Right. Now this is the reason. Now they are going to deduct. I will write down here minus. Right. I will write down here minus. They will deduct EPF. EPF 10%. Right. This amount will be changed, but I will explain end of the session 10%. EPF 10%. Right. But how can we calculate now? 10% on where? How can we calculate? Right. How can we calculate 10%? Right. ඔන්න ඔතන තමයි case එකෙන්. හරි. ඕකේ ළමයි එක එක methods තියෙනවා මම පස්සේ හිමීට කියනවා. හරි. How can we calculate? 10%. Right. Normally businesses not going to calculate this 10% on their gross salary. Right? Not going to calculate on gross salary. They will calculate that 10% from the basic salary. Right? 10% on basic salary. Right? Clear? 10% on basic salary. Okay, lama එක එක scenarios තියෙනවා. I will explain later, right? ඕක gross එකකට යන scene එකක් තියෙනවා. මම ඒක පස්සේ කියන්න ඔක්කොම නැත්තම් පැටලෙනවනේ. Right. From here on the here for the moment, keep in mind EPF that total amount deducted from the basic salary 10%. Right. Can you tell me how much is 10% on 200? 10% on 200, how much? 20. Right. Then they will deduct 20 amount. 20 amount from the total balance. Right. But that EPF calculated where? From the basic salary. Right. From the basic salary. right. තේරුණාද? right. දැන් government එක කියලා මෙහෙම. හරිද? හරි. එහෙනම් 250 pay කරන්න එපා. ඔයා 20 deducted 20 from the total amount. Right? But that 20 calculated on basic salary. Right? Basic salary. Right. So government, right. Government informed business. Right. එතකොට government business එකයි මොකද කරන්නේ? Total payable amount how much now? Payable amount how much? Payable amount 250. But they are not going to pay 250 amount. Right? They are not going to pay 250 amount to employees. Right. They will deduct 20 amount. 20 amount from the total payable balance. ඔක්කොම දැන් pay කරලා නැහැ. හරිද? pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් තමයි අඩු කරගන්නේ. ඔක්කොම pay කරන්නේ නැහැ. pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් අඩු කරගන්නවා 20. Then what happened to the payable balance? මේ total payable balance will be 230. Right? And they will move to that 20,000 and they will identify that 20. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ අඩු කරගත්ත ගමන්ම government එකට යවන්නේ නැහැ. Right? They should payable. Right? In future, that 20 will send to the government. Send to government. Right? Deducted but not directly sent to the government. They will in future. Right? ගත්ත ගමන් මොකද යවන්නේ? ටික කාලයක් තියාගෙන ඉඳලා තමයි යවන්නේ government එකට. හරි? Right. In future, this 20 should be sent to the government. Right? Send to the government. Right. So can you tell me, right? Deducted but not yet paid. Right? Not yet sent to the government. එහෙනම් අපි ඉස්සරහට යවන්න ඕනේ නේද? Right? ඉස්සරහට යවන්න. Right. Therefore, this total 20,000 should be expense, income. Right? Can you tell me this should be income or expense or asset or liability for the business? Right. Now this is the scenario. අර ටික අඩු කරගත්ත 20 එක කස්ටමර් මෙයාට පේ කරන්නේ නැතුව ඒක අපි තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා අපි ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට යවන්න ඕනේ. තාම යවලා නැහැ. හරි? අන්තිමේට තමයි යවන්නේ. Should be asset or income or expense or liability. Should be what? Should be may obligations. Business will have an obligation to pay. Right? This 20,000. මෙයාගෙන් ඔක්කොම දෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මෙයා employee ගාවට යනවා. ආවට 250 තිබ්බට අපි 250 මාවට දෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි 20 අඩු කරගෙන අපි ඒක තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. Right? තියාගෙන ඉඳලා තමයි government එකට යවන්නේ. Right? Therefore, business has an obligation to send that 20 to government. Therefore, that should be what? Liability. That should be liability. Right? එහෙනම් මොකද කරන්නේ මේ? We have to identify that 20,000 as a liability. We call what? Look at here. EPF payable. EPF payable. EPF payable how much? 20. Right, ළමයි. දැන් අපි කලින් pay කරන්න තියනවා කියලා දාගත්තේ කීයද මේ employees ලට salary payable 250 නෝ. දැන් pay කරන්න තිබ්බට අපි ඒ ඔක්කොම pay කරන්නේ නැහැ. හරි? තාම pay කරන්නේ නැහැ. අර ටික අඩු කරගෙන අපි pay කරන්න ඕනේ කොච්චරද? remaining payable balance how much? මේ remaining salary payable. Remaining salary payable how much? 230. Right? No need to pay total 250 total to the employee. We deducted 20 and that should be payable to the government. We identify EPF payable. එහෙනම් අපි employee ඊට අපේ සේවකයාට අපි කොච්චරයිද දෙන්න ඕනේ මේ remaining salary payable අපි මෙයාට කියන අවශ්‍යම අපි 20 deduct කරලා දෙන්න අපි වාර දෙන්නේ 230 විතරයි. Right? 230 විතරයි. Sorry කියලා කියන. Right? 230. Understood me? Then remaining salary payable. Right? So we write down salary normally that double entry salary expense debit 250 previously salary payable was how much? Salary payable credit 250. කොහොමද ලියාගත්තේ ළමයි? Right. Now we are not going to pay this total amount. We will deduct 20 That 20 should be identified as payable. What payable? EPF payable. EPF payable. Right? Then your remaining payable, how much? Salary payable 230. Right? You have to deduct from here. And me ඔක්කොම pay කරන්නේ නැහැ. එකකින් 20ක් අයින් කරලා ඒක government එකට යවන්න ඕනේ කියලා තියාගෙන ඉන්න. Right? Payable එකකින් තමයි අයින් කරන්නේ. Right? That deducted from salaries, right? Salaries from employees. Understood? Right? Understood? Okay. So please write down this chart, right? This chart. This is the confusion, right? I will explain. Please write down. This is the biggest confusions, right? If you got the clear idea, you can do anything, right? Okay. Write down the story. Write down the string and EPF 10% calculated on basic salary, right? Basic salary. From the total, from total payable balance, we had to deduct. ඒ මේක employee ගෙනේ එකෙන් තමයි අපි අඩු කරන්නේ right අපි නෙමෙයි යවන්නේ employee ට දෙන්න තියෙන එකෙන් අඩු කරගෙන අපි තියාගන්නවා මේ තියාගෙන ඉතුරු ටික තමයි අපි යාට දෙන්න ඕනේ right okay write down this one and write down try to understand how to create double entries here not yet finish explanations here some important things right okay write down then I'll explain right මෙතන තමයි අමාරු part එක right double entry ගණන් හදන එක ගේමක් නෑ හරි හොඳට කතන්දරය වගේ මතක තියාගන්න මේ එක එක මේ process එකෙන් තමයි අමාරු කරන්නේ exam එක හරි මෙතනින් අමාරු කරනවා මේක එක තැන් වලින් right okay write down EPF තාම ඉවර නෑ තාම නෑ right write down like this that total payable balance to the employee will be deducted that 20 should be transferred to EPF payable employee ට දෙන්න තියෙන ටිකෙන් 20 අඩු කරගෙන අපි යාට දෙන්න ඕනේ කොච්චර දෙනවද? අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ මේ remaining payable should be 230. That deducted the amount should be sent to the government. තේරුණාද? 250 අරන් යනවා. එයාට 230 දෙන්න තියෙනවා කියලා ඉතුරු 20 එක අපි government එකට යවන්න ඕනේ. ඒක අපි government එකට should be payable. Then remaining 230 should be payable to employee. අර 250 එක deduct කරනවා. separate කරනවා. 230 to employee, 20 should be payable to government. Right? Okay. Not yet finished. This is the biggest difficult area of the lesson. Right? What happened here actually? Right. Can you tell me this EPF 10% deducted from total payable balance, right, to this employees? This has actually contributed from business or employee. That's the main thing, right? Try to identify this 20,000 contributed by employee or business. Employee or business. May 20,000 EPF එක government එකට යවන්න කෙනේ මේක ඇත්තටම මේක කාගේද කියලා මම අහන්නේ. මේ 20 එක employee ගෙද නැත්නම් business එකකත්. Right. Send me the answers. Employee or business. Employer business, right? Actually, this 20% entitled, right? This is owned employee, right? Employee. Understood? මොකද මේක දැන් අපි තමයි දෙන්නේ business එකේ තමයි දෙන්නේ. හැබැයි යාට හම්බෙන්න තියෙන එකේ නේද ළමයි අඩු කරන්නේ මේ. This 20 also should be payable, right? This 20,000 also should be added to the salary payable. That total should be payable to employee. But business deducted that 20 from the employee, from the total amount of employee. Therefore, this one we call what? We call EPF employee contribution. Right? Employee contribution, right? Okay, write down the topic, scenario number 2. EPF employee contribution. Right. Now write down the topic. Right. Here write down please. contributed by employee and contributed from employee salary. එයාට හම්බෙන්න තියෙන එකෙන් ළමයි තමයි sorry එයාට හම්බෙන්න තියෙන total එකෙන් තමයි මෙයා business එකේ තමයි කරන්නේ. හැබැයි මේක මෙයාට ඒක අයිතියක් කරනවා නේද? ඒ හම්බෙන්න තියෙන එකෙන් තමයි මෙයා contribution එක දෙන්නේ. Therefore we called this amount contributed by the employee, but that calculations are doing by the businesses, but it taken from the employee total amount. Therefore we call EPF employee contribution. Right. Now this is the question. Right. Understood? Right. Please tell me මේකට අමාරුයි හරිද මේ පාඩම්. අපි හිමීට clear කරගෙන යන්න හරි. Right. Please tell me any confusions up to now. Any confusions? What happened? මුලින්දලම ඉන්න ඕන. මැදින් join වෙනවා නම් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right. Okay. Right. Now I am going to ask you a question. Right. This 20,000 deducted from total salary that is payable to employee, right? This will be expense for the business or not, right? Can you tell me this 20,000 should be an expense for the business? Make a business expense should be expense or not? Should be not. Why not? Why can't identify this 20,000 contributed from employee? Can't we identify EPF expense for the business? Business එකට ඕක expense එකක් නෙමෙයිද? Yes or no? ඔන්න ඕක තමයි පැටලෙන්නේ හරි? Right. This should not be expense. Right? Clear. Okay, I'll erase this one. Look at now. This is the very important explanation for the lesson, right? මෙතන තමයි මාරු වෙන්නේ හරි? Okay. Right, look at now. Right. So normally we identify, let's think this is our salary payable. I write down this one as a box, right? Salary payable. Salary payable, right? How much the total salary payable for before salary expense, sorry, before EPF was 250, no? Right, payable liability. And also salary expense was තමයි ගොඩක් ටයිම් එක යනවා හරි හැබැයි ඔයාලට ආයෙ ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ මේක මම කරාම හරි බලන්න හොඳට අහන් ඉන්න ඕන තමයි මේ හරි මේ 250 right. Then this was total expense for the business and this was liability for the business. Liability should be payable, right? Salary payable, but government informed from the total payable balance, right? Deducted that EPF. එහෙනම් ළමයි EPF how much? How much was EPF? Right? EPF 10%. 10% EPF. EPF from employee, which was calculated on basic salary. මේ expense එකට අත තියන්නේ නැහැ ළමයි හරි expense එක එහෙමමයි but we will remove මේ 20 from the payable balance and will move to another box called what? That will move to another box called EPF. That one also payable, right? EPF payable, right? Contributed by the pay කරන්න තියෙන එක this will not be changed. Salary expense should be still same, right? Expense එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් තමයි 20ක් අයින් කරලා salary expense එක sorry EPF එක government එකට යවන්න ඕන කියලා දාගන්න, right? That one also liability, right? Look at here. Then expense is still same, right? EPF or anything involved, salary expense should be same. Basic salary plus allowances. But total payable amount deducted 10% and move to here. This will calculated on basic salary. Okay, like gross salary එකේ උත් යන සින්ට එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක හිමීට කියන්න. හරි. Okay. Understood. Then ළමයි අපි මෙහෙම දැන් මේක තිබ්බේ නැත්නම් අපි කොහොමද දාන්නේ මෙතන මේ sorry right අපි මේ දැන් මේ EPF කතාවක් තිබ්බේ නැත්නම් අපි කොහොමද දාන්නේ මෙහෙමනේ salary expense debit 250 salary payable credit 250. That's the correct, right? If we have to contributed EPF from employee, you have to remove 20 from the salary payable. Methaniin අයින් කරලා move to the here. Move to here. 20. Then this will be remaining payable how much? We call EPF payable. මේක ළමයි expense එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ business එකකට. What is the reason? Why this EPF payable contributed from employee should not be expense for the business? What is the reason? Right? Because it's contributed from employee. ඒක business එකේ නෙමෙයි දෙන්නේ. Right? ඒක අපිට දාලා නැහැ. අර pay කරන්න දෙන එක අඩු කරගන්න. හැබැයි අපි salary expense එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ ඒ විදිහටම තියෙනවා. හරි? අර pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් අයින් කරගෙන අපි government එකට යවන්න ඕන කියලා මේ කාටවත් expense එකක් නෙමෙයි. Right? Understood? Okay. Write down if you want this one, then I'll move to the next point. Right? Right? This is the very important part. Right? Understood? Okay, write down. If you have finished, then I'll move to the next one. Right? Write down the topic EPF employee contribution. Right? This will not be changed. Salary expense will not be changed. Right? Now I have covered 50% of the syllabus, sorry, of the lesson. ඔක්කොම දාලා හදලා පෙන්නන්න ඊට පස්සේ නේ. Right, finish. Shall I move to the next one? How about Daya? Only 2 scenarios, then we can move to the questions. Right, this is the biggest confusions. කට්ටි පාඩම් කරන් ඉන්නේ employee this one should be මොම කියලා වැරදි. Right. Finish. Finish. Right. Right now, scenario number 3. Write down scenario number 3. Right. If you have finished, please. If you have not yet finished, please take a screenshot. You can fill. Right. Okay. Now, example. Then මොකක්ද අපි මේ කතා කරේ? මොකද කරේ? මේ EPF contributed from the employee, which is deducted from their payable balance. This is number 3. Right. So now, right, I'll completed 100 theory now. Right, look at here, business. Business, again our employee. Right, employee. Right, normally lamai, employee means the person who has providing their labor services to the business. But lamai, we will identify a special word for this business. This is employee. We call them businesses. We call employer. Right? Look at very important. Employer. Right? Employer. Understood? Employer. Right? Employee means what? Owners of the business or business. Right? Employer. Look at here. Here, employee. Employee කියන්නේ කවුද? වැඩ කරන කෙනා. හරි? Employee. Right. Now, this is the next one. Right. So as previous one, basic salary and allowances we had to pay to the salary employee. Right. Basic salary. Basic salary, allowances plus gross salary. Gross salary should be the expense, right? Right. 250 and here 250. Right. So now here business again, sorry, again here our government. Right. Then government in central bank, I told you they have two funds, right, maintained by the central bank. Previously I told you EPF fund. EPF fund. Right. EPF fund. Right? EPF fund and there is another fund. There are two funds actually. Another fund actually ETF. We call ETF. ETF. There are two funds now. Previously I told you EPF fund and ETF fund. Right. Now again I'll get another new fund, ETF. Both are for what? Both are maintained for employee welfare. Employee future welfares. Right? Future welfares. Future welfares. Right. Now, previously, right? Previous question, scenario number 2, contributed. Right? Business deducted EPF. EPF 10% from gross salary, which is contributed by the employee. Employee. Right? But that one calculated on basic salary. Right? 10%. 10%. 10% was how much? 200 to 10. මේක ළමයි gross salary වලට ඉගෙනගෙන නැති සමහරමයි කියන්නම්. හරි මොකද්ද reason එක කියලා එහෙම කල් කරද්දි right. Then here should be 20. Right. Then after deducted that amount from the gross salary. Right? How did we create the double entries? As previous one. Right. I'll write down the amount ETF for අනිත් එකට එන්නේ නැහැ. හරි number 3. I mean, our salary expense was debit 250, right? This total amount. Then how much remaining balance here after deducting this EPF? 230, no? 230. We call that one salary payable, remaining salary payable. ඉතුරු ටික නැත්තම් 250 මෙවන්න ඕනේ. Right? Salary payable. Credit 230. Right? Credit 230. Right? This 20 should be from total balance. We move to EPF payable. That should not be expense of the business. EPF payable. Credit 20. Right. So look at lamai. This is gross salary minus EPF contributed by the employee. After deducted that amount, we call this one, this remaining part, net salary. Net salary. Right? Net. What is the meaning of net? Net means something deducting from gross. Net profit ke again, gross profit again, expense adu karama net profit again. And here from gross salary, if you deducted some amounts, you can get net salary. That is the remaining payable. Look at here. Look at here. Look at here. I will write down here. Gross salary should be the total expense, right? Gross salary. Gross salary. This 230. 230 should be our net salary. right? That is the remaining payable balance, net salary, right? Then this should be EPF employee, EPF employee contribution, very important, right? Okay. Now next part, right? Right. Now government again come to the business, right? Now government come and says, right, you deducted 10% from the total salary payable of the employee. That means that to a 10% contributed by the employee, not you, not business. Then හැමදාම ඔහොම කරන්න බෑනේ. දැන් එයාලා ඔයාලගේ වැඩ කරනවා. So you have to do something, right? Government says to business. Sorry, you means business here. Inform to businesses. You contributed. We got contribution from the employee, but businesses also you have to do something else, right? You have to do something else for your employees, for your employees' future welfare. Inform to businesses. දැන් ඔයාලා උඩ බලාගෙන ඉන්න බෑ. Right? Business එක ඇදගෙන ඔයාලත් මොනවා හරි කරන්න ඕන. Therefore, businesses, government will inform to businesses. Businesses also have to contribute. Businesses also will have to contribute some amounts, right? Businesses also have to contribute some amounts for these two funds maintained by the central bank, right? Maintained by the central banks. Okay. So the business says, okay, we will contribute it, right? We will contribute some amounts, right? So already for the EPF, 10% contributed by the employee. May business again save may EPF contribute කරලා තියෙන්නේ, right? But government says, okay, businesses, you have to contribute for two funds, right? We have the businesses. Now businesses has to contribute two funds, right? May look at it. Now businesses, they have to contribute for EPF. EPF, I will write down of business, right? මම ඒකේ හරි වර්ඩ් වලට එන්න ළමයා. ඔය words දාගත්තම එන මල කරදරයක් කරනවා. තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ EPF of business. Then ETF. ETF of business. Right? Right. Already there are two funds maintained in the central bank. Only for EPF fund, already 10% provided, contributed by the employee. But now business will have to contribute for both two funds from the business side, right? From the business perspective, right? ඒ කියන්නේ EPF එකට පොඩි ගාණක් යවන්න ඕනේ, ETF කියන ෆන්ඩ් එකට පොඩි ගාණක් යවන්න ඕනේ කවුද? බිස්නස් එකේ අය. අපි කරන්නේ හරි. අපි තමයි දැන් මෙයාලට පොඩි හෙල්ප් එකක් විතර මෙයාලගේ ෆියුචර් එක හොඳට හදාගන්න බිස්නස් එකේ පොඩි ෆන්ඩ් එකක් යවනවා ගවර්න්මන්ට්. ඒක කරන්නේ අපි. අපි නිකන් හොඳ හිත වගේ බිස්නස් එකේ තියෙන ආදරයට තමයි ඒක කරන්නේ. Right? So now business will inform some percentages for the business. I will write down here for the EPF, they will inform 15% from business. I will write down here business, but I will come to correct words business. For ETF, 3% from the business. Right. Business. So these two. Right. Now, EPF business, how much? 15%. 15%. 3% means ETF of the business, right? How can we calculate now? How can we calculate it now? Right. Every EPF and ETF should be calculated on the basic salary. On the basic salary, right? Please calculate 20% on 15% on 20%, 200. How much is 200 into 15 and 200 into 3%? How much the answer here? 30. I think 30. Ne? Here, how much? 6. 6 and 30. Right. Okay. Now, business going to contribute it on behalf of employees instead of employees. Employees are genuine. Business will contribute it for 2 funds. Right? For 2 funds. Right. Now, for EPF fund, business will have to provide 15%. Now we have calculated on what? On salary, right? Basic salary. 30. Right. Now, can you tell me this should be an expense for the business or not? Should be an expense or not? This 30. Now, this is contributed by the business. දැන් අපි තමයි යවන්නේ හරි දැන් ඕක ඔය 30 අපිට මොකක් හරි වෙන පාටි එකක් දාලා පොඩි ෆන් එකක් දාන්න තියෙන සල්ලි වෙයි right අපි අර ෆන් එකට යවනවා බිස්නස් එකට should be income or expense or asset or liability what should be expense right because these 2 funds contributed by the business therefore these 2 should be expense for the business should be an expense for the business right but lamai oga calculate karapu gamam yawanne naha right they will calculate the amounts business will calculate the amount and also they will normally that 30 and 6,000 should be sent in future right not end of the month normally next month or after next month right oga calculate karapu gaman salli වලින් දීලා දාන්නේ හරිද normally calculate කරලා පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්නවා තියාගන්න after that March month එකේ එක යවන්නේ April වල right March month employee business EPF and ETF will send in next month therefore not paid from cash at the moment right business will normally pay in next month therefore right should be payable in next month no right not yet paid in cash habai should be expense right these 2 payable in will pay in next month are therefore not yet paid can you create double entries now you can easily create this is contributed by the businesses no that means should be an expense definitely expense therefore you can identify what EPF expense EPF expense how much 30 but not yet paid no therefore you have to identify EPF payable should be payable EPF payable credit liability increases credit and no liability increase credit expenses increase debit that's a double entity hari eka පුළුවන් වෙනවා නා and then he also said ETF also contributed by the business therefore should be an expense ETF expense debit 6 that should be payable to the banks payable to the central bank payable to the government in next month therefore liability increases we call credit ETF payable credit 6 right okay හැබැයි ළමයි employee ගේ මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ employee EPF amount not should be and what expense for the business right expense for the business that is deducted from the total salary payment right normally these percentages we call I'm not going to write down businesses this should be employer contribution we call employer right that's the correct word employer මම ඒක හිතලම තමයි ලියන්නේ හරි employer contributions right? Get the logic. Why should be an expense? Why employee contribution should not be an expense? What's the fees, right? What is seen at there, right? Here, employer contribution. EPF employer. ETF employer. Right. Right. Understood? Then separately, do you have to write down two entries? Two entries. EPF of the business should be an expense. ETF also an expense, but should be payable. Should be paid. If you have any confusions, if any areas, please send now. Then I'll explain. Right? Should be 100% clear with the reasons, right? Make it in but get the clear meaning, right? Why? If you should have knowledge to explain this double entry. Why EPF debited? Why EPF payable credited? What's the reason? Right? Here also same. Why here? Why EPF or only EPF payable? Why can't I identify EPF expense? You should have knowledge to explain. Otherwise, if you be the island first or something, you better know. Island first not right? Okay. Right. Right. Finish. Right. ETF means actually meaning I will explain. Right. Please write down this one firstly. Now I'll explain what is the meaning of EPF and ETF. Right. Right. Finish. Did you understand now? Right. Finish. Shall I erase the board now? Right. Okay. Normally, I'll explain one time. Basic salary means which is the initial salary, right? That which is included in the appointment letter, right? That will not be changed, initial salary. Then we will add it allowances. Allowances means facilities given by the business like food, fuel, uniforms, right? House rent, traveling facilities. Those things we call allowances. Then you have to pay, business has to pay, business will have to pay both basic salaries and allowances. Then total both we call gross salary. Gross salary. Right. That should be the total salary expense for the business. Right. Total salary for the business. Then normally this should be the expense, right? Salary expense. Gross salary. Right. Then government informed to businesses, please deduct 10% from total payable balance of the employee, right? 250 pay karanne nathuwa eyagen 10% adu karanna, but that 10% calculated on basic salary, right? Basic salary, right? Basic salary. But that one contributed from the employee side. Employee, right? Payable karanna thiyena ekෙන් තමයි adu කරන්නේ. That should not be an expense for the business, right? Which is deducted from the payable amount, total payable amount, right? Total payable amount we transfer to EPF payable. That should be payable to the government, right? Then after that, business has to, they have to do something for their employees. Therefore, there are two funds, ETF and EPF. But EPF employee 10% නැවලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි 15% එකක් business එකලුත් දාන්න ඕනේ. ETF එකට 3% දාන්න. I will explain what is the meaning of ETF 3%. මේ funds දෙකක් මොකක් හරි. එතකොට business එකනේ මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? EPF business has to provide some contribution from the business side. Right? From the business side. This is deducted from the employee salary. එයාට pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් අඩු කරගෙන තමයි ඒක government එකට යවන්නේ. ඒක අපේ අතේ නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. හරි? අපි තමයි කල් කරන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒක pay කරන්න තියෙන එකෙන් අඩු කරලා තමයි we have to payable to the government. But business has to provide two contributions, 15% for EPF, 3% for ETF fund, right? But these two contributions bared by the business, right? From the business, these two we have to send to the government, right? Enam business එකේ කට්ටිය නම් කරන්නේ දැන් ඕන this 30 and 6,000 we can use for another purpose, right? We can do arrange party, we can do any කොහෙරි යන්න පුළුවන් trip එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන් business එකකටනේ මොකක් හරි කරන්න පුළුවන්. They can purchase photocopy machine, right? But එහෙම තියෙන සල්ලි අපි contributions of employees ලා වෙනුවෙන් අපි government එකට fund එකට යවනවා නම් that should be an expense though. Definitely should be expenses for the business, right? EPF and ETF. But ETF and EPF not going to send directly. That one payable in next month. Look at it. We'll pay in next month. Therefore, end of the month, not yet paid. Therefore, payable. Make EPF payable. ETF payable. Right? Ekai expense right? I will explain what is the meaning of ETF. Right? Okay. EPF fund and ETF fund. EPF fund and ETF fund. Right. What is the meaning of EPF fund? Employee Provident. Right. Employee Provident Fund. Employee Provident Fund. That's the meaning of EPF. Right. Look at first letters E, P, F. Right. Employee Provident Fund. Right. Then ETF means what? ETF means Employee Trust Fund. Right. Employee Trust Fund. Right. Look at the first letters. ETF. ඕක නිකන් ළමයි අර අපි societies වලට අර fund එකතු කරන් සල්ලි එකතු කරගෙන තියාගන්න ඒ වගේ නිකන් පොඩි fund එකක් හරි funds දෙක නමක් ඉතින් හරි එක purposes, right? Right. Only normally keep in mind funds. Right. Now for EPF fund, employer and employee. Both have to, employee means what? Business, right? Business. Both are have to provided some contributions to the EPF fund. Both, right? Employee as well as business. Both are have to provide contributions to the business. But ETF fund, only contribution employer. Right? Employer. Right? Employee means only business. Right? Only business. Not contribution from employee. Employee contribution done ETF. Right? But EPF fund, employer, business as well as employee, both have to provide contributions. Right? Both have to provide contribution. Right? So normally there are two percentages. If employee provide 10%, right? 10%, and business has to provide 15%. That's the first part. The percentage exam, don't worry. But another methods, or if employee provide 8%, businesses will have to provide 12%. Right? 12%. But here only 3%, right? From the business, only 3%. This will not be changed. Only 3%. Right? Okay. This is the thing. Right? This is the currently using normally these two methods, 10% and 15%. From the employee 10%, business should be 15%. If employee provided 8%, businesses should provide 12%. Please write down, then I'll move to the Write down. Basic salary. Basic salary 5,000. Allowances 1,000. 1,000. 1,000. Right. And separately, 10% from employee and 15% from employer. Employer means business, right? Employer on basic salary. Basic salary. Right. Next one. 3% salary for EPF. Right. EPF. 3% ETF from employer. Employer. Then separately, all salary related payments made in next month. Next month. Next month. Right. Right. Now required. Number one. Double entries above transaction. Number two, ledger accounts. Number three, financial statement extraction. Extraction. Right. Write down then. Basic salary was 5,000. Then allowances plus that should be gross salary. Gross salary. Right? Right. How much was the basic salary? 5,000. Allowances was 1,000. Then gross salary should be 6,000. 6,000. Right? 6,000. Right, lovely. Now, there are EPF and ETFs. EPF from business and employee. Employee 10%. From employer, employee means business. 15%. Right. ETF, employer 3%. Right. Right. Look at here. Employee 10% means what? 10% you should deduct it from the total paid. Right. Then my 6,000 should be the expense, right? This should be the expense for the business. This should be payable. Salary payable. Right? Salary payable. Right? What is the double entry for this one? If there's no EPF, salary debit. Right? salary expense debit 6,000, salary payable credit 6,000. This should be the expense, right? This should be the expense. But employee 10% should be deducted from that amount, right? But we have to calculate on the basic salary, right? On basic salary 10%, right? How much the basic salary 10%? You have to deduct 10%, right? 10% EPF contribution of employee, right? Employee. Now, how much is 10%? 5,000 into 10. 10. How much? 500, no? 500. This should not be expense for the business, right? Should not be expense for the business from payable balance, right? මේ 6,000 pay කරන්නේ නැහැ අපි. හරි? දැන් pay කරන්න තියෙන එක මේක අඩු කරලා අපි government එකට යවන්න ඕනේ. 6,000 එකෙන් අඩු කරලා අපි ඒක අපි යවන්න ඕනේ government. මේකෙන් අයින් කරනවා මේ. Remove that one and from here 500 credit. We call what? EPF payable. EPF payable. Then payable balance should be how much? Salary payable 5,500. What? Net salary. Net salary. Right? 5,500. Right? 5,500. Right. Clear, no? Right. Okay, write down number one. That's the number one double link. Right. So next one, EPF from employer and ETF from employer 3%. Right. Those are contributed from the business, right? Calculated on basic salary, right? 15% EPF employer, right? 3% ETF employer, right? Calculate on basic salary, right? 15% how much? 5,000 on 15%. 10% means 500. 750. 750. That should be an expense. එහෙනම් ඒක business එකෙන් ළම යවන්නේ. ඒක business එකට ඒතර expense එකක් වෙනවා. EPF expense debit. Right? EPF payable. That should be payable to the government. Credit 750. Right? Big expense. Employee contribution in ETF or EPF should be an expense for the business because business bear the on behalf of the employee, right? But here 3%, 5,000, 3%, how much? 150. ඒකත් මොකක්ද expense එක? business එක යනවනේ. නේ? business එක යවන හින්දා expense එක. හරි? Debit 150 ETF payable. That should be payable to the government by the business. 150. Same as previous, right? Please write down red color number 2 here and red color number 3 here. Correct, no? Right. ඔයාලා මේ පොඩ්ඩක් පුළුවන් වෙනකම් මේ විදිහට පොඩි chart ගහගෙන එහෙම කරන්න. හරි? ඊට පස්සේ mind එකෙන් හදන්න පුළුවන් එන්න පුළුවන්. පටන් ගත්ත ගමන් එහෙම එන්න බෑ ඉතින්. හරි? Right. I'll write the number 2. 750 EPF payable, credit 750, right? Number 3. මේ රෙඩ් කලර්ස් වලින් දාගන්න පොඩ්ඩක්. මම දැන් ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් වල දාන දී කියලා දෙන්නම්. ETF expense. I explain now, but I'm not going to explain again. 150 ETF payable, credit 150. 150. Right. Okay. Salary expense. Right. Then salary payable. EPF payable. EPF payable. Right. What is the first double entry? That with the employee contribution, salary debit 6,000. Right. Salary payable credit 5,500. That 500 should be moved to the expense payable. Salary, write down opposite account name, salary. Here, salary payable / EPF payable. ඔක ළමයි බ්‍රේක් කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. මේ මෙතන බ්‍රේක් කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. 550. Right. This is double entry number 1. Credit and debit. Credit and debit. Right. Then number 2. EPF expense debit. EPF payable. May no need to prepare another EPF payable. Same EPF pay. May only one EPF payable account maintained in the journal, right? No need to prepare another one. Right? Employee එක දෙකම එකට දාන්න. හරි? Right. EPF expense. EPF expense debit. EPF payable. Right? Number 2. Right? These are the references, right? No need to write down in exams. I will put these two number 2 red color for your references, for your study purpose, right? For your understanding purpose. Right. Last one, ETF contribution of the employer. Right, but you have to get 2 accounts, ETF account and EPF payable. ETF debit 150, ETF credit payable 150. Right. Number 3. numbers. Look at here, EPF payable. This is employee contribution, right? Employee 10% का मैं payable ये देखा मैं government के देवान हूँ यारी employer 15%. Employer 15%. That's all. Right? This is expense account. Expense. This is liability account. Right? This is also liability account. Right? Liability. Right? EPF expense and ETF also expense account. But ETF payable liability account. Right? Income statement. State. Right? Normally look at the expenses here. Right? Look at the expenses. Salary expense. Right? EPF expense. Right? EPF expense and ETF expense. These three. Right? Which category? Distribution expense or admin expense or other expense or finance expense? Where we have to record. Only extractions, right? Under administration expense. Under administration expense, you have to record these three. One, EPF expense, ETF expense. Look at salary expense, how much? 6,000, right? Salary expense, this one. Then EPF expense, how much? 750. 750. Right? ETF expense 150. Right? We recorded this one, and this one. But look at, there are three liability accounts, right? Three liability accounts. Salary payable account, EPF payable account, and ETF payable account. Right? Here we have to record. Under current liabilities, right? Under current liability, statement of financial position. Right? Look at the salary payable, 5,500. $5,500. Right? EPF payable, how much? The total? Total, look at total. EPF payable, 500. 1,500. අර දෙන්නගෙම business එකේ අය employee කි දෙන්නගෙම හරි 1,250. Right? ETF payable 150. Right? Now I look at the salary expense. Salary expense should be the gross salary, right? After deduct the deduction, after the deductions, right? Sorry, before the deductions, right? This is the gross salary. Gross salary should be the expense, right? Gross salary, right? But EPF expense actually employer contribution. Our business එකේ එක තමයි මේ sorry employer එකේ එක තමයි මේ වෙන්නේ. Employer contribution, right? Employer contribution, right? මේක හොඳට බලන්න ඕනේ මුලින් ඉඳලා නැත්තම් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ එකපාරටම. හරි? මේ salary payable means that's the net salary. Net salary, look at that equation. Net salary, right? But EPF payable means that employee contribution plus employer plus employer. Write down everything. Write down 270,000 has been paid to employees end of January, end of January, and debited to salary expense account. And debited to salary expense account, right? Debited to salary expense account. Next one, 10% employee and 15% employer for EPF on basic salary. Basic salary, comma, not yet recorded in any accounts. Not yet recorded in any accounts. Not yet recorded in any accounts. EPF and ETF not yet recorded in any accounts. And also 3% ETF of employer not recorded, not yet recorded, right? That's all, right? This is the question required. Number one, adjustment entries. Adjustment entries. Number two, financial statement extraction. Right. Right. Can you do now? Can you do? Right. Look at the highlight the word paid. Paid me. Paid. Paid 270,000. EPF and ETF are calculated on basic salaries, right? On basic salaries, but not yet recorded. Not yet recorded. This one also not recorded. Right. Write down and try to do. I'll give you 1 minute. Then we will percentage kata hoti na. Percentages, right? You have to think basic salary plus allowances, right? Allowances. Then you can get gross salary. That is the expense for the business, right? That's the expense for the business. But in this question, they have not mentioned allowances and gross salary, basic salary, right? And also not mentioned gross salary, right? But how much the employee salary, employee contribution for EPF? 10%. No, I will deduct EPF 10% for employee of employee. Then you can get what? Net salary. That is the payable amount. Net salary. Net salary. Right. Right. This should be the paid amount. Right. This should be the paid amount. This is the actual paid amount. Right. Actual pay amount. Actual pay amount. Right. I think question has mentioned how much the paid amount. How much the paid amount? How much the paid amount? 270, right? 270, right? 270. 270. Sorry, 270. 270. So you don't know how much the 10% and here amount. Here amount. How can we calculate? Right, lamai then question එකේ තියෙනවානේ basic salary එකෙන් calculate කරන්න කියලා. But if there's no basic salary, right? If you don't know basic salary, right? Sometimes if there's no allowances, basic salary will be equal to the gross salary, right? If there's not allowances, right? Right? If you don't know allowances and basic salary, right? You are able to calculate EPF and ETFs on gross salaries, right? Gross salary can calculate කරන්න පුළුවන්. තේරෙනවද? ඔන්නෝම එනවා එකේ සමහර තැන් වල හරි. වාට ඕන අර අපි question එක ලියන්නේ basic salary කියලා. එතනින් ඕන නම් brackets ඇතුලේ දාගන්න no allowances and basic salary, then you can calculate on gross salary, right? Me gross salary, you can calculate gross salary, right? So 10% means now we have to think 10% has calculated on gross profit, because in questions not given basic and allowances. That means 10%, right? 10% means if gross salary 100, EPF should be 10. That is the meaning of 10%. That's the meaning of 10%, right? Gross salary එක 100 දුනොත් EPF එක 10 කියලා තමයි ගන්න කියලා කියන්නේ 10% එක දියුත්. ඔතන basic salary නැති හින්දා අපි ඒකට යන්න බෑනේ ඉතින්. gross salary එකෙම ගමු. right? Right. So then this is the percentage interpretation. Right? Percentage. Right? Then what should be the net salary? If gross salary 100, EPF should be 10, then net salary will be 90. 90. Right? 90. Right? Me look at these are the percentage interpretation. This is the actual value. Right? Actual value. Right. Now we have to find out actual value for EPF and actual value for gross profit. Right? Right. So Lamai, if you know actual value for 90 percentage, how can you calculate actual value for 10? Me or 90 sorry, actual value is divided by 90. Right? From the related percentage amount. Right? Then if you want to find out 10% for actual value, multiply by what? 10. Right? Here, if you know actual value for 9 to 90 divided by 217, 90. Then if you want to find out actual value for 100, multiply by 100. That's the theory. මෙතනදී ළමයි බේසික් සැලරි එකෙන් කැල් කරන්න කිව්වට අපිට ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන්ස් නැහැ. අපි gross salary එකනොත් කැල් කරනවා සමහර වෙලාවට. හරි සමහර වෙක්ෂන් වල එහෙමත් දෙනවා. Right. Then how much should be the gross salary? Right. How much should be the net salary? This is the way of calculating. Right. Percentages. Please tell me. Here I think 30. Here should be 300. Hey, look at 300, 10%, how much? 30. No? That's the way of calculating. This has paid. Right? 30. Right? This is not accounting, this is a mathematical part, right? Mathematical part. Right? Okay. Now, how can you create double entries for this question? Right? I'm not going to calculate it, EPF and ETF of employer. Right. Right, Lamai. Now, what is the double entry for? Now, salary expense should be how much? Salary expense should be gross profit. Then what is the double entry for here? I write down double entry. This is the correct double entry, right? Salary debit 300. Okay, this is the correct one. This should be what? Payable to government, right? EPF payable. EPF pay. But this should be, net salary should be the payable amount. But here we have paid, right? We make a pay karla thiyena. Then you can't put salary payable. You can write down cash. I love cash link pay karla. Then make a better me ama hari kaliyan, right? This is the correct way. This is the correct way of record. Right? This is the correct double entry cash, not salary payable. This is paid remaining payable balance paid from cashes. Right? Paid from cashes. Right. Right. Now, Lamai, you can't calculate employees that 15% and 3% ETF. You can't calculate basic salary. No information. No. Then you can have to calculate on gross salary. Right. 15% EPF of business. Then last one, 3% ETF of business. Right? What is the double limit? Calculate 15%. 15% means 45. Right? EPF debit 45, EPF payable credit 45. මේක තාම හැදුවේ නැහැ මම මේ හරි ටික ලියා ගන්න යා. ඉස්සලාම correction entries ටික ලියා ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි adjustment එක දාන්න. හරි තාම adjustment ටික ලියුවේ නැහැ. Right. Okay, this is the correct one. Right here 3% means 9. ETF expense debit 9. ETF payable credit 9. Credit 9. Right. Okay. These are the correct entries. Now we calculated EPF and ETF from gross profit, gross salary, because no basic and allowances. Right. These are the correct. But question says, right? Question says, right. Look at these are the correct entries. I will write down these things again. Please write down firstly. Then I will write down how to adjust now. Right. ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඔන්න ඔය ටික හරි ටික ඔයා හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. හරි. මොනවද හරි entries ටික? Right? Hari entries to go. Then you can compare incorrect one and correct one. Then you can do adjustments. Right. Please write down this one. Then I'll know how to do the adjustment. Right. Right. These are the correct double entries. Right. Finish. Finish. Okay. Gross salary should be the expense. The remaining part should be payable, but here in this question, paid cash. EPF should be payable. Right. Right, am I correct? Are you raised? Correct entries. Correct entries. What was the first one? Salary debit. 300. EPF payable. Credit 30. Cash credit 270. Right? 270. That's the first one. Right. Then second one was EPF expense. Debit 45. EPF payable credit 45. Right. Then ETF of employer. ETF expense debit 9. ඔන්නෝම හදාගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ හරි විදිය. හරිද ඉස්සරලාම? These are the correct methods. Correct double entries. But question says, right, this is employer contribution. Employee contribution and employer ETF contribution. These are not yet recorded. These are not yet recorded. Right? Look at the question. 15% EPF not yet recorded. 3% EPF not yet recorded. Right? Any EPFs are not yet recorded. But in the question, right? Question, incorrect entry. Identify incorrect entry here. Incorrect entry. Right? Incorrect entry. How can we identify? Look at the question again. What is the question? Right? 270 paid and paid. 270 paid and debited to salary expense account. Salary expense account eකට debit කරලා 270. Right? 270. But credited cash 270. That's all recorded. Not recorded these entries. EPF employee end. මේක දාලත් නැහැ. හැබැයි මේක දාලා වැරදි. අඩුවෙන් දාලා තියෙනවා. How to correct now? How can we corrections now? Right? Look at this is the correct entry with the employee contribution, but they have not yet recorded EPF 30. How can we correct now? Look at salary should be 300 gross salary, but they have debited only net salary. අඩු කළා තමයි දාලා තියෙන්නේ. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. How can we correct now? Right? But not recorded EPF 30. Cash correctly recorded. Compare these two entries. හරියට දැනගන්න ඕනේ මේක දන්නේ නැත්නම් අමාරුයි. How to correct? How to correct the double entry? Look at cash credit 270, but you can't debit it to salary 270. Net salary that after deducting APF 10%. ඒක දාන්න බෑ උතන. තේනවා? ඒක දාන්න බෑ උතන. ඔයා දාන්න ඕනේ EPF අඩු කරන්න කලින් ගන්න. But EPF එක record කරලත් නැහැ මෙතන. Right? Then how can we corrections? Can you send me the correction entry? Look at. This is the incorrect entry, but these two entries not yet recorded. Can you send me what is the correct entry? Right? Then මේක දාලා නැහැ නේ. How to corrections? Right? I will write down the corrections here. Corrections. How to corrections? How to do the corrections? Make correctly recorded in cash account, but salary should be 300. That gross salary, right? This is they have paid the amount after deducting the EPF. අර උඩ බලන්න අර equation එක, right? එහෙනම් මෙතන තව 30 should be added, no? Then you can add it salary 30. Salary expense debited 30. Right? Salary expense debited. Right? But you not credited to EPF account at employee contribution. ඒක දාලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් ඔයා මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? EPF payable credited. අන්න ඔහොම බලලා හදන්න ඕනේ. ඔක හිතලා හදන්න අමාරුයි. EPF payable credited 30. That's the correction entry. Right? But if you have not recorded these two entries, employer EPF and employee ETF, then you can write down these two. Not recorded, no? Right? Write down EPF. EPF debit 45. EPF payable credit 45. Right, 45. Then here, ETF debit 9. ETF payable credit 9. ඒ දාලා නැති ඉන්ට්‍රෙස්ට් ටික දානවා ළමයි. හැබැයි උක හොඳට ගන්න ඕනේ පට්ට අමාරු නැත්තම් දැන් කටපාඩම් කරලා කරන්න බෑ එහෙම. සුපිරි මීනින් එකක් තියෙනවා, සුපිරි මේ නොලෙජ් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ, ඇඩ්ජස්ට්මන්ට්ස් යන. නිකන් මෝඩේ ඔය කටපාඩම් කරලා කරොත් කරන්න බෑ කොහොමද? හරි. Right. So this is the answer. Right? These things not yet recorded, then you can record correction entries. Right? But this one that after deducting employees payable 10%, that one not recorded. This is the incorrect one. This is the correct one. You have to create this one from your knowledge, right? එතකොට මේ දෙක compare කරලා මෙන්න මේක දාන්න, right? Correction entry. So this is the answer, right? Right. This is the answer. Recording financial statement, income statement. එකක් දාගන්න. This is the adjustments. ඔයාලමයි company council ආපුවම හදාගන්න ඉතින් practice කරලා යනවා, right? Admin expense. Right? Salary, EPF expense and ETF. Right? But lamai already look at already recorded 27. Right? Already debited to salary expense 27. Right? But these are the adjustment entries. These two not recorded. This one you have to adjust it. Right? SOSP. Current liabilities. Current liabilities. How to record? Right, look at the first entry. Salary debit 30. That's the adjustment. We have to debit it here. Debited means මෙතන හො දාලා තියාගන්න. I write down number 1, 2. These are the adjustment entries. Salary debit. Red color one, number 1 I will write down here. Debit. Salary payable credit. Salary payable under liabilities. EPF payable. But ළමයි මෙතන දෙකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන EPF payable එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා පොඩ්ඩක් මෙතන ඇඩ් කරලා තියාගන්න. 30. That's the number 1. Right, number 2, EPF debit. That means expense. EPF debit, how much? Only 1, 45. EPF credit, payable credit. That means should be added to the payable expense. Right? Credit, debit. Look at ETF debit, 9. ETF payable credit, 9. ETF. Nine. Right, number 3. Number 3. ඊට පස්සේ මේ adjustment එක කියන්නේ මේ ළමයි මේ දෙකම එකතු කරලා ලියන්න ඕනේ විතර මේ 300 here 75. But look at no salary, sorry, salary payable accounts, no, right? No salary payable accounts because from paid, we paid from cashes, right? Already paid. No salary payments. These are the adjustments. Right? These should be added then. May already this one recorded, salary debited, no me. Already this one recorded. Then no need to put double entries. Only put double entries to adjust that entry. Right. That's the